I always thought silence was peaceful, until the day it started screaming at me. It was a Tuesday morning when everything in my life snapped out of place. The sky was gray, the kind of gray that feels like a warning, and my coffee tasted burnt even though I made it the same way I always did. Maybe my hands were shaking. Maybe the universe was trying to tell me something. But I ignored it, like I ignored so many little signs before the storm. My name is Ava Wynn, and at that time, I was proud of the life I'd built. I worked at Theron Dynamics, one of the fastest growing corporate consulting firms on the East Coast. I wasn't rich, but I wasn't drowning. I had a job people envied, a tiny apartment I loved, and a routine that felt safe, until the people I trusted turned it into a weapon. I walked into the office that morning with a folder full of presentations I'd worked on all weekend. Big pitch, big opportunity. The kind that could finally get me promoted out of the endless cycle of doing everyone else's work and receiving none of the credit. When the elevator doors opened on the 12th floor, I didn't expect the silence. Usually the office hummed with noise, chatter, phones ringing, keyboards clacking. But that morning, quiet, too quiet. Then I saw them, my team, huddled around Lucas Grant's desk like vultures circling something dying. I didn't know it then, but the something was me. Lucas, my supervisor, spotted me first. He smiled. Not the friendly kind, the practiced kind, the kind someone wears right before they tell you they've broken something that belongs to you. "Ava," he said, walking toward me with his arms opened like we were close. We weren't. "We need to talk. Conference room." I didn't even get a chance to put down my bag. The others, Melissa, Jordan, and of course, sweet little Emily, followed behind him. Emily used to copy my work word for word when she was new. Lucas told me to mentor her. Turns out, mentoring her meant training my future replacement. I stepped into the conference room and immediately felt my stomach twist. Papers were spread across the table, my papers, my notes, my research, my pitch deck. But something was off. My name wasn't on any of it. Lucas closed the door. The click echoed like a trap snapping shut. "Ava," he began, folding his arms, "we reviewed your recent performance." Performance? No one reviewed anything. They barely looked at me unless they needed something. "And?" I asked, forcing my voice to stay steady. He slid a folder toward me. "We found significant issues. Missing data, incorrect projections, unprofessional formatting." My breath caught. "What? That's not possible. I triple-check everything." Jordan snorted. "Yeah, well, maybe check a fourth time." The way he said it, sharp, smug, felt like a slap. I opened the folder. For a second, I thought I was dreaming. The numbers were wrong, visibly wrong, sloppy errors, entire pages missing, a disaster. But I didn't make this. This wasn't my work. Someone had altered it. "Lucas," I whispered, "these are edited. Someone messed with the files." Emily shook her head. "Ava, no one touched them. You sent these last night." "I didn't," I shot back. "I sent the updated version at 11 p.m. Lucas sighed dramatically. "We checked. That file wasn't in the system." I froze. I knew I sent it. I remembered hitting upload. I even waited for the confirmation. Unless someone deleted it. I looked at each of them. Their faces were calm. Too calm. Rehearsed. This wasn't a mistake. This was a setup. "Ava," Lucas said, leaning back in his chair, "this is serious. The partners reviewed what you submitted. They're concerned." "Concerned about what?" My voice cracked despite my effort to stay controlled. "Your stability." It felt like the floor dropped out beneath me. "Stability?" I repeated. Your recent behavior. Melissa chimed in with fake sympathy. You've been slipping. I haven't. I've been doing my work and yours when you leave early. Lucas raised a hand to silence me. We're not here to attack you. We're trying to help. Help. Right. I felt the anger bubbling beneath my ribs. This is insane. You know this isn't my work. Lucas looked me dead in the eye. Ava, denial isn't going to fix this. Denial? They were rewriting reality and acting like I was losing my mind. He stood, smoothing his tie. Effective immediately, we're placing you on a performance improvement plan. My heart pounded. A PIP in our company was code for, we're firing you soon. A slow, humiliating termination. I need you, he continued, to take a week off, clear your head, reflect on your mistakes. Mistakes I didn't make. I swallowed hard, fighting tears. Crying in front of them would be giving them exactly what they wanted. And, Lucas added, your pitch has been reassigned. Emily will take it from here. Of course she would. Of course. I watched Emily fidget, avoiding my gaze. Guilt flickered across her face, but not enough to stop her. Anything you'd like to say? Lucas asked. Yes. I wanted to scream. I wanted to flip the table. I wanted to tell them I knew what this was. That they'd been talking behind my back. That they'd been using my work, my ideas, my weekends spent bent over piles of spreadsheets while they partied. But instead, all I said was, no. He nodded like he expected that. Good. HR will send you the paperwork. Paperwork? I didn't even get a chance to repeat the word before the door opened behind me. Rachel from HR stepped in, her expression blank, robotic, like she'd been waiting for the cue. Ava, she said, could you follow me, please? It was happening too fast. Rachel escorted me past my team, past the curious glances, past Emily, who couldn't meet my eyes, past Melissa, who smirked, past Jordan, who whispered something I couldn't hear, and then into a smaller conference room, the quiet room, the one they used for layoffs. My throat closed up. No, I whispered, stepping back. I'm not fired. Lucas said, You're not fired, she interrupted. Yet. They were giving themselves time to frame the narrative, time to rewrite every piece of work I'd ever done. She slid papers toward me. Standard leave, paperwork, sign at the bottom. My hands shook as I picked up the pen. I wanted to refuse. But refusing would be uncooperative. And uncooperative employees were terminated immediately. So I signed. When I walked out of the building, the cold air hit me like a slap. My chest felt tight, my heartbeat uneven. Betrayal does that. It strips the world of color. I stood on the sidewalk holding a folder that shouldn't exist, with a future that suddenly wasn't mine anymore. But here's the thing about being pushed into the dark. Your eyes adjust, and in the silence they tried to trap me in. I started hearing everything they didn't want me to hear. And I realized something. They made one mistake, one they didn't even notice. And I was going to use it to burn every last one of them. The mistake was small, so small, they probably never even considered it. I didn't notice it until that night, when the anger finally stopped screaming long enough for my brain to start working again. I was sitting on my couch, lights off, laptop open on the coffee table. The apartment felt too quiet, like it was holding its breath with me. My performance plan paperwork was still in my bag, crumpled from the way I'd shoved it in there. I opened my personal email, not because I expected anything, but because I needed something to distract me. Bills, spam, a newsletter I never read. And then I saw it. An automated confirmation email from the company server. File upload successful, 11:02 p.m. I froze. My heart skipped and then punched hard against my ribs. I clicked it, hands trembling. There it was. The internal link, the exact timestamp, the subject line. Win final pitch revision, 11 p.m. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't slipping. I had proof. They told me the file wasn't in the system. Lucas looked me in the eye and lied. Emily nodded like she hadn't seen it. HR treated me like I imagined it, but servers don't gaslight. Someone had gone into the system and deleted my upload after the confirmation was sent. I leaned back slowly, staring at the ceiling, feeling the rage settle into something colder, sharper, like glass. They wanted to erase me, rewrite me into a problem they could toss out, but they left a footprint. I forwarded the email to myself again, to a second account, then to a cloud folder they didn't know about. I screenshotted it. I saved it to a USB drive. I didn't know exactly what I'd do with it yet, but I knew one thing. I wasn't going to clear my head. I was going to clear them out. The next day, I called in like they told me to, taking the week to rest. Rachel's voice was sugary over the phone. "That's great, Ava," she said. "Focus on you." Sure, I focused on me and on their destruction. After I hung up, I texted the only person at Theron I actually trusted. Noah. We weren't close. Not in a grab drinks after work way, but we'd survived 2 all-nighters together on a broken system migration project. He worked in IT. Quiet. Forgettable, in the way smart people sometimes are when no one bothers to look deeper. "You ever see my upload from last night?" I typed. 11:02 p.m. final pitch. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. "Why?" he replied. My fingers hovered over the screen. I almost lied. Almost said it was a glitch issue. Instead I wrote, "They told me it never existed." There was a longer pause this time. "Can you call me?" he finally sent. We talked for 40 minutes. I paced my apartment while he spoke in a low voice like someone might be listening. "Ava, the file was there," he said. "I saw the upload queue last night. It processed clean." "So what happened to it?" I asked. He exhaled. "It was manually removed around 7:14 this morning." Cold spread through my chest. "By who?" "I can't say." "Can't or won't?" Silence. Then, "If I pull logs, they'll know I pulled logs. And if they know I pulled logs, they'll know I talked to someone. I like my job." I closed my eyes. He was right to be scared. They were already rewriting me out of the story. They'd do the same to him. "I get it," I said quietly. Another pause. Then he added, voice softer, "But if someone, say, had a screenshot of the upload confirmation, plus proof that the pitch materials were originally created by them, with timestamps, file histories, local backups, that would make it harder to bury." It took me a second to realize what he was really saying. He couldn't help me directly, but he could tell me where the bodies were buried. "I keep everything," I told him. "Local versions, drafts, notes, even sticky notes. That's how I fix everyone else's mess." He gave a humorless chuckle. "Then maybe stop fixing theirs." After we hung up, I went to work. Not the kind they paid me for. I pulled out my external hard drive, opened old project folders, every version of the pitch, every revision, my name on the originals, my login ID on the first uploads, my notes in the comments, the evolution of an idea that they had stolen and slapped someone else's name on. I remembered Lucas saying, "The partners reviewed what you submitted." Had they? Or had they reviewed what he submitted with my fingerprints scrubbed off? In the corner of one early draft, I'd left a comment for myself. "Recheck competitor data. Source, March 8th report." It hit me then. I didn't just have drafts. I had a trail. Every report I had used, every source, every late-night email I'd sent myself to make sure I didn't forget an idea. They could mimic my final file, but they couldn't mimic years of my obsessive documentation. And if they tried to say I was unstable, unreliable, unprofessional, I'd show exactly how I'd been the backbone of every win they'd claimed. Rage used to scare me. It made me feel out of control, but this wasn't like that. This was controlled, measured, strategic. They wanted to play a corporate game? Fine, I'd play, and I'd break the board. 3 days into my leave, I put on office clothes again. Not because I had to, because I wanted to remember who I was before they tried to turn me into a problem. Blazer, dark jeans, boots. The badge I hadn't turned in yet. I didn't go to the office. That would have looked desperate, reckless. Easy to spin as unstable behavior. Instead, I went somewhere quieter. Across the street from our building was a cafe with big windows. Our office people went there all the time. I'd eaten enough dry muffins in that place to own stock. I walked in, bought a coffee I didn't really want, and chose a table in the back where I could see the entrance. At 9:17 a.m., I saw them. Lucas, Melissa, and Emily. They walked in like a little parade of betrayal. Lucas talking, Melissa nodding, Emily clutching a laptop bag like it might bite her. They sat 3 tables away, too far to hear clearly, close enough to see their faces. I didn't look directly at them. I stared at my phone, using the front camera like a mirror, angling it slightly to watch them in the background. Lucas opened his laptop. Melissa leaned in. I saw the reflection of a slide deck, my slide deck. The visual layout was identical. The colors, the way I structured data, even the little icon in the corner I added at the last minute, a tiny compass to symbolize direction, my idea, my metaphor. I bit the inside of my cheek so hard I tasted blood. Emily looked sick. She stared at the screen, then at Lucas, then down at her hands. She said something. Lucas replied. She glanced toward the window, eyes passing right over me. For a second, I thought she saw me, but she didn't. I was invisible to them now, disposable. I watched for almost an hour, long enough to see enough slides flip, long enough to know they were polishing my work for the big pitch meeting scheduled next week. The one I was supposed to lead. The one that could land the biggest client our firm had ever landed. The picture sharpened in my mind. They'd use my work, take the credit, blame the process mess on me, collect their bonuses, and I would vanish, neatly filed under unstable former employee, unless I moved first. On my way out of the cafe, I passed by their table. Lucas didn't look up. Melissa was mid-sentence, rehearsing a talking point I'd written. Emily's fingers were shaking on the trackpad. I didn't say a word. I just walked by, my heart pounding, memorizing everything. The way Lucas talked over Emily, the way Melissa laughed at something cruel, the way Emily flinched. By the time I got back to my apartment, the plan had started writing itself in my head. They wanted to use my work? Fine. I'd let them. I'd make sure the pitch went ahead exactly as planned. Same deck, same flow, same meeting. But I'd change one thing. Not enough to notice at first glance. Just enough to turn their perfect little heist into a confession. They thought they had burned my life down. But all they did was hand me the matches. I didn't sleep the night before the pitch. Not because I was afraid, because I was ready. There's a certain calm that settles in when you finally stop hoping people will do the right thing. When you accept who they are, what they've done, and what you have to do. It's the kind of calm that feels like standing in the eye of a storm. Quiet, focused, unshakable. The morning of the pitch, the city felt different. Colder, sharper, like the air itself knew something was coming. I dressed carefully, not for them, but for me. Dark blazer, simple blouse, hair pulled back, Every piece intentional, every movement steady. I walked into the building at 9:04 a.m. Security didn't stop me. My badge still worked. They hadn't gotten around to cutting me out yet. Typical, efficient enough to ruin my life, lazy enough to forget basic protocol. When the elevator opened on the 12th floor, I stepped out like I'd never left. A few people glanced up. A couple froze. One whispered my name. I didn't slow down. I walked straight to conference room B, the one reserved for high-stakes clients, the one with the long table and the fake wooden paneling and the partners' framed photos on the wall. Lucas was inside. So were Melissa and Jordan. And Emily, sitting stiffly with her laptop open, her fingers tangled together in her lap. Their faces dropped when they saw me. Lucas recovered first. "Ava," he said sharply, "you're not supposed to be here." I shut the door behind me. "Relax," I said. "I'm not here to make a scene." "You're on leave," he snapped. "This is wildly inappropriate." I smiled. Calm, cold. "You should really stop using words you don't understand." His jaw clenched. He opened his mouth to call HR, or maybe security. But before he could, the door opened again. The clients walked in. 3 of them, in immaculate suits, accompanied by the senior partner himself, Mark Hensley. A man so untouchable, people lowered their voices when they said his name. He saw me immediately. "Ah, you must be Ava Wynne," he said, extending a hand. "I've heard a great deal about your strategic modeling for this project." Lucas went pale. Melissa stiffened. Jordan blinked. Emily looked like she was about to cry. I shook Mark's hand, firm, confident. "Thank you," I said. "I'm glad to finally present it." Lucas choked. Actually choked. Mark, Ava isn't... That is, she's..." Mark cut him off. "Lucas, we have a full agenda. Let's begin." Lucas stumbled into a chair. Melissa shot daggers at me. Jordan looked like he wanted to disappear. And Emily. She stared at the screen with a look that bordered on terror. I took my place at the head of the table, where I belonged. The presentation started exactly the way they planned it. The deck opened smoothly, my layout, my structure, my flow. But layered beneath the polished visuals were the pieces they didn't know about. My quiet edits, my invisible strings, my trap. I clicked to the second slide. "As we begin," I said, "I want to highlight the development process behind this proposal." Lucas shifted in his seat. "Ava, this isn't the..." "Lucas," I said warmly, "I'll take it from here." The client smiled, appreciating the confidence. I moved to slide 3, the screen filled with a timeline. Anyone else would think it was just context. But the details mattered. This proposal, I continued, was built over 6 months. You'll see contribution logs, original drafts, version histories, and annotation dates. We believe in transparency. Mark nodded approvingly. I clicked again. Slide 4. A split view. Original development on the left, internal review on the right. And beneath it, clear timestamps. My timestamps, my name, my login ID, my comments. Every piece of evidence they tried to delete. Melissa's face drained of color. Lucas stared at the screen like it had betrayed him personally. Jordan sank lower in his chair. Emily swallowed hard. I kept going, smooth as glass. "As you can see," I said, "the concept framework, forecasting models, and competitor analysis were all created by me. I documented the full process for quality control." Mark leaned forward, impressed. "This level of detail is excellent." "Thank you," I said. Unfortunately, parts of the file were removed from the internal server the morning after the final upload. The room froze, dead silent. Lucas opened his mouth, desperate. "Ava, that's not accurate." "Luckily," I continued, "I maintain redundant backups for every project to protect client work from internal mishandling." Mark turned his head sharply toward Lucas. "Mishandling?" he repeated. Lucas stammered. We had a misunderstanding. She's confused. I clicked again. Slide 5. A high-resolution screenshot. Timestamp, 11:02 p.m. Subject line, win final, pitch revision, 11 p.m. Status, file upload. Successful. The same email they'd sworn never existed. A murmur rippled through the client team. Mark looked furious. I kept my voice calm, steady, professional. This confirmation was sent from our own server. Shortly after, the file was manually removed from the system. I cannot speak to why, only who had access. Every pair of eyes swung to Lucas and Melissa. Jordan looked ready to bolt. Emily closed her eyes. Mark demanded, "Who deleted it?" I didn't answer, because I didn't have to. The next slide did. Slide 6. Internal access logs. Nothing revealing names. Noah made sure of that, but enough to show the deletion came from a supervisor-level account. Mark's gaze hardened. "Lucas?" Lucas's voice cracked. I didn't... Someone must have... Ava is twisting." But no one believed him. Not now. Not with the evidence flashing behind me like a spotlight. I didn't look at him. I stayed focused on the clients. With that clarified, I said, let's move on to the actual proposal. The tension in the room was thick enough to choke on. But I delivered the pitch flawlessly, confident, controlled, professional. Every slide flowed, every point hit, every question was answered before they even asked. By the end, the clients were impressed, very impressed. Mark shook my hand again. "Outstanding work, Ava, truly." Then he turned to Lucas. "We'll speak privately later." Lucas nodded, his face chalk white. After the clients walked out, the room stayed silent. No one breathed. I packed my laptop calmly, clicked the lid shut, and finally looked up. Lucas exploded. "What the hell was that?" he shouted, voice cracking. "You sabotaged us." I raised an eyebrow. Sabotage implies I lied. "You blindsided the partners. You blindsided the truth." Melissa stood. "You're done, Ava. Completely done. HR will..." "Actually," I said softly, "HR won't do anything." They stared at me like I'd sprouted wings. I pulled out another document from my bag and placed it gently on the table. A printed complaint, filed externally. Not internally. Not to HR, but to the State Labor Board, and the Corporate Ethics Committee, and the Federal Oversight Agency responsible for client data integrity. Lucas's mouth fell open. You went outside?" "You deleted client critical data," I replied. "Then you falsified performance issues. That's not an internal matter. That's illegal." Melissa shook her head violently. "This is insane. You'll go down with us." "No," I said, "because I documented everything, every file, every email, every version, every discrepancy." I stepped closer, and I wasn't the only one in the room today who knows the truth. All three heads snapped toward Emily. She froze. Then slowly, she nodded, trembling, but firm. "I'm done lying for you," she whispered. Lucas stared at her like she'd stabbed him. "You owe us," he hissed. "We gave you your job." "No," she said. "Ava did." I didn't smile. Not yet. I opened the door to leave, then paused and looked back. "To be clear," I said, "I'm not coming back to work here. I don't need to." Lucas blinked in confusion. "Then why do all this?" I finally smiled. "Because you don't get to rewrite my story." And I walked out, calm and whole, leaving them in the ruins they built themselves. It took 3 weeks for everything to collapse. Lucas was fired. Melissa was suspended pending investigation. Jordan resigned before they could question him. Emily transferred departments with a glowing recommendation. Mine. Mark called me personally to thank me for protecting the firm from a catastrophic breach. But I didn't go back. I had better offers, real offers. from people who valued integrity. The day I signed my new contract, I walked past the cafe where I first watched them steal my work. The sky was brighter now. My coffee tasted good again, and for the first time in months, silence felt like peace. Some people think revenge is about destruction, but real revenge? It's about reclamation. It's about taking back the story they tried to steal and writing the ending they never saw coming.